everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Adam and Chris Show. I'm St. Adam.
And I'm Chris Malice.
And we are here today to talk about the Joker movie. I know last video we did some predictions about it, but now it's come out. We have seen it. So now we're just going to figure out if we're right or not. Chris, right off the bat, how was the movie?
It's my best picture of the year. Hands down. So far, that is my film of the year. It's the film, in my opinion, to beat. My honest opinion, it's not getting an Academy Award nomination just because of the bullshit controversy that's surrounding it now. It's dark. It's nihilistic. It's great.
That's quite the endorsement. Stark, nihilistic. Hey, it's great.
Here's the thing. Don't go into this film thinking that this is going to be uplifting, that there's a happy ending. There isn't. All right? And you know what? There's a place for films like that out there, and they need to be out there. Sometimes they poke the right way, and they say something that needs to be said.
Well, no, I agree. When I saw it last night, like I will say, this movie's dark. Like, dark as fuck. But it should be with what it does. And I will say, when the movie was over, and I'm watching, the audience all interact with each other, because we were sitting in the back and we just couldn't get right out the door right away. People were having the right kinds of conversations about this movie when it was over. They were talking about mental health. They were talking about the system. They were talking about everything that needed to be talked about. And a movie that entices people to have those conversations, to me, it's a good thing.
That's what good art does. You can make a bunch of romantic comedies and everyone get a laugh at the dipshit dude or whatever. But good art, at one point, makes people talk afterwards.
Right, and I will say, as far as, like you said, laughter, there was very little laughter in this film. I think most of the laughter that happened, myself included, laughed at, like, awkward scenes, things that, were awkward, so like, that's kind of funny, but it wasn't really meant to be funny. I mean, the character himself really isn't. And that's always been the thing about the Joker. I know everyone looks at the Joker and they think, he's a clown, he's supposed to be funny. And even Nicholson tried to put some humor in there, with certain, the hand buzzer and everything. But if you look at where Joker was when he was created, that was a dark take on that character. That was like in 1940.
It was heavily influenced on a movie called The Man Who Laughs.
Which that movie really didn't have much laughter in it.
Yeah.
But when we got to the Adam West Batman series in '66, everything had to be toned down and made campy for the television. So Joker just became a clown-oriented crook.
Who didn't shave when he put on his makeup.
Right, he had a mustache. Hey, neither did Superman if you want to be in a Justice League. But Joker was not... He wasn't supposed to be a funny character. In fact, Joker's mentality is, the joke makes sense to him, and we're all stupid for not seeing it. That's why, and I recommended this in the past, during The Killing Joke, when Joker's monologuing, probably one of the best monologues in comics, and he's like, why can't you see the punchline? He's telling this to Batman. He's like, why aren't you laughing? Batman even says, because it wasn't funny the first time I heard it. In Joker's mind, that's the line that separates, normal people from the Joker. In the film, and we're trying to keep this very spoiler light, if spoiler free if we can, he starts telling some jokes, things that he thinks are funny, and they're just not. And I don't think any stable person would really be like, oh yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, even like Robert De Niro's character, who is, kind of like the Johnny Carson of Gotham City, is like, that's not funny, those aren't the kind of jokes we do.
There's a line. So with the movie, first off, let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix's performance. It's absolutely...
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing because of how uncomfortable it is. You look at him, you think he's a man about 2 steps away from snapping. When he laughs, it sounds like he's hurting when he laughs, uncontrollably.
It almost sounds like he's crying. Now, I mean, that's an actual condition. What was it called? It was called pathological laughter, but it had another name too. I can't remember it. But no, it is an actual an actual thing that happens. I was looking it up and researching it, which, the filmmakers wanted to put that in the movie to explain, this maniacal laughter. And some of it's just not laughter. It's just the way he reacts. And you find out why he's like this. And it just makes it even more heartbreaking. But at the same time, as bad as you feel for him, he makes all the wrong choices in this film. Like, everything that he has control over, he just picks the wrong choice, and it just keeps building and getting worse and worse. So while you're like, oh, it sucks that, his life is this way, I feel bad that he, had to grow up like this or whatever, he's still making the bad decisions that lead to even more fucked up circumstances.
There's with the movie, so if you're a diehard Batman or Joker fan like we are, I grew up on Joker. My first encounter with Joker was the Batman movie with Jack Nicholson. I used to be able to recite it. But if you have an understanding of some of the Batman books, earlier in the last video we did talking about it, we discussed some of the ideas from books that this movie pulled for. So one of them was called The Man Who Laughs. It's the first encounter with Batman dealing with Joker. He's not even called Joker at that time. He's just this white-faced character that's going around going after rich entitled assholes in Gotham. Another one that they take ideas from is The Killing Joke, the grandest, the greatest Joker story ever written by Alan Moore. The uncomfortable nature of the origin of Joker, and to where he comes up with this belief system that Joker's theology is, I can bring everyone down to my level. It just takes one bad day to turn you into how I am. Another book that I think they took heavily the ideas from was Brian Azzarello's Joker. We brought that up in our last video. It's more gritty and more realistic. The thing about this movie that people should also understand, it is not like Dark Knight fast-paced. It is a slow burn. And I must commend the musical score because it builds this tension. It starts off loose. It's like a rope. It starts off pretty loose, but more and more it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
Until it garrots you.
Yes, until it gets you. And the musical score helps sets that off. There's points where something bad you feel is about to happen, and the musical score in this film sets off like a horror movie almost. Yeah. When right before Arthur Fleck, Joker's character, snaps or something. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like, the score at times felt like it was inspired a little bit by Hans Zimmer's score from The Dark Knight. You could, certainly draw connections to it, but it was its own thing. It did not rip off anything else, and the way it went about it, it was as much a part of this film, an important part of this film, as Joaquin Phoenix himself.
Mm-hmm. The side characters are all pretty good. Robert De Niro's character, being very reminiscent. Another influence this film takes from his old Martin Scorsese films, Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. And Robert De Niro was, of course, in The King of Comedy, and he kind of reprises somewhat that role in this, where he's a late-night talk show host. It's more Taxi Driver than Dark Knight than anything.
Right, I mean, and the way the film looks, it's set in 81, but the way he got the feel of the city, it feels like it's out of those films.
Yep.
It feels like it's, even though it's Gotham, it's New York from Taxi Driver, it's New York from The King of Comedy. I mean, it's like this really gritty,
cesspool.
Dirty cesspool. Yeah, I mean, like, it just looks dirty and it looks grimy and it has that feel of those films from back then. And so it very much fits into that time period of what it's trying to achieve. And, the fact that they were able to get that look without making it look too clean and shiny and overproduced like a lot of Hollywood movies, especially like a lot of comic book films like
Which is good because, it gives you a mindset of why Arthur goes from being this frail, easily beaten up victim to an absolute monster.
Right. And the violence, I know a lot of people think like this film is going to encourage violence or it's going to glorify this kind of violence. There's nothing it glorifies about the violence in this film. It's not like, well, to take another comic book film like Blade or something where he's killing like 100 people. It's like some fast-paced music, strobe lights and gunfire, so it looks like a really bloody rave, which Blade also had. Mm-hmm. No, this is very in-your-face violence with like no music behind it. I mean, like it's uncomfortable to watch it unfold. So,
So about that, let's talk about the controversy.
I know you've been waiting for.
Oh God, this is going to be great.
Before you launch into this, maybe I just want to get this out there right now. I do have this mark on my face for the no hate. I did the no hate photo shoot earlier today, so I know if anyone's asking about that, I'm just putting that out there. I think I do have to put that out there before he launches into what he's going to say.
So, about the media coverage of this. So, there's two groups of people that dislike this film. There's the group of people that I think went into this thinking this thing's going to be like American Psycho, like that level of messed up, that crazy, something crazy happened every second. And then they got let down because they were seeing what the media was saying about it, and they walked in and they're like, oh, it's a slow burn. There's that group of people. And then there's the people that want a gold fucking sticker for disliking this film. Like they're getting a pat on the back for, I'm a good person because I absolutely despise that film. I hate that film. And they've given it all this bad coverage. To the point that movie theaters aren't letting people go in costumes specifically for this film. They started that policy recently. And then there's more security because the media has hyped this up to some crazy level. And it's absolutely fucking absurd. All these journalists that have done this, you guys influence these spree-shooting psychopaths more than a fucking movie. All of you do. All of them do. These people get put in the fucking front of your magazine. They get put on your news site everywhere. You publish their fucking manifestos, and you have the nerve, the absolute nerve, to sit there and point your finger at somebody that is using art to make a comment about it. It's fucking shameful.
Well, I mean, when you look at this, I think the takeaway from this Joker film, if you're looking for a real-world lesson, is undiagnosed mental health issues. And he certainly has them. You see it throughout the film. He's getting worse and worse. And he's had a history of it. Of course, they also play into, there was a program that was helping him, but because of the economics of the city, the program goes away. You see him talking to the social worker in the trailer. So I feel like if you walk away with any real world issues from this film, it's mental illness is real. It is a problem, and people need help. And sometimes we gotta, when people are looking at budget cuts for the city, maybe don't close down the places that help these people get the help they need.
Adam, look, you keep talking like this, you're not going to get your I hate Joker gold sticker, okay?
But I like the film. I really enjoyed it.
But I mean, look, you can't get on a pedestal. And here's my thing about that type of bullshit outrage culture journalism. If you really are that fucking righteous, you wouldn't be putting these psychopaths that commit mass shootings on the, you wouldn't be publishing their manifestos. You wouldn't be covering these lunatics the way that you guys do. It's pathetic.
Well, right. And, I mean, okay, society is built on outrage culture. Everyone has things they get outraged about. Some things are worth it, some aren't. I know we could argue day and night about what is and what isn't, but I think in the grand scale of things...
A work of fiction, is it?
A work of fiction that is poking a little truth into our present society, and even society back then, isn't as worth getting upset about as there are other major issues going on in the world. And this movie never once made it seem like this is an okay thing to do.
No, it doesn't.
He is never once looked at as a hero.
But a lot of journalists wrote it like it was okay.
I mean, anyone watching this is going to be like, he he is, this pathetic individual who's getting worse and worse. I mean, and I said this when I compared, I still think Heath Ledger is the best Joker.
Yeah, he is.
As far as live action goes, if you do Jokers of all, kind from different performances, you got to throw Mark Hamill in there. Mm-hmm. Mark Hamill might actually win for best personification of the Joker. But as far as live action Jokers go, I think Ledger was the better Joker, but Joaquin Phoenix gave him a run for his money. And the difference being, I think what really separates their two performances is, other than Ledger being kind of fantastical and mysterious within the realm of the Dark Knight movie, is that with Joaquin Phoenix, you see someone slowly going more and more insane till they just lose it. Where Ledger is that character on the other side of that line he crossed, where he's embraced his insanity. He embraced the joke that he, discovered. So it could be the same character, the same exact character, just a before and after thing. Mm-hmm. Because that last third of the movie is when he does put on the face paint and the purple suit and everything. Everything building up to that really isn't Joker as you would think. But I think, they both work as like a cautionary tale of this is plausible. Like Nicholson's Joker, as fun as that performance is, no one's getting dropped into chemicals and coming out like that.
Yeah.
So, that's my thought on it. And while I'm on the talking about chemicals and people going insane from falling into vats of chemicals and coming out clowns, brings us to our completely real sponsor, Domino's Pizza. Because when you ask yourself, what does the Joker's insanity taste like, you think Domino's.
Oh, wow. They're not going to sell any pizzas.
But no, in all seriousness, great movie. I don't think, like people wanting to boycott it, see the movie first. Well, you're jumping up and down about it's going to inspire people. If walking out of it, the only thing I think it inspired people is to let's get people the help they need.
Adam, come on. Don't rain on their moral grandstanding, okay?
It's not moral grandstanding. I can't accomplish anything that matters, so I'm just going to fall in line with this.
That may get financial incentive by clicks.
Well, clickbaity things are just the worst, and most people hate them.
Well, yeah, cool. That's great, because then their careers aren't going to last that long.
Well, there you have it. So, I do personally recommend this movie. I think, even if you're not a comic book fan, this movie works, even if it had nothing to do with Joker. And really, there's very little nods to the Batman universe in this.
Yes,
it's you could know nothing about the comics. Go in and see this and enjoy it for what it is.
Oh, yeah. I highly recommend it. It's my vote for Best Picture of the Year. I highly doubt, because of the controversy that we've seen now, that it's going to get nominated for shit when it comes to the Academy Awards, because most of the people voting were probably going to be too cowardly to do it because of a backlash.
Well, I wouldn't even call it like a political thing, because we have seen people from both sides of the spectrum going on about
they're all frauds.
They're all frauds. And I'm just like, see this movie. If you like character performances, it kind of remind me of just a little bit Split.
Yeah.
Because, again, a great performance carried by a great actor who is able to go all over the acting spectrum with their performance.
Yep.
So, we did make some predictions about the Joker movie in our last video. I think most of them were pretty spot on.
Yeah.
How it would be a character study, how it would, delve more into real-world psychological issues and not so much Batman threw him into a vat of chemicals and that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So I do think we were right about that, which I hope encourages people to watch it even more. Anyone that said, hey, that last video was cool, and then you hear this, I'll go see it. I think art like this does need more support.
I give it a very enthusiastic thumbs up. But also, my two favorite movies are 7 Reservoir Dogs and Taxi Drivers. So I'm using
that's 3 more than 2.
Well, three. That's those are about as uncomfortable as you get.
Right. So usually at the end we like to recommend something worth checking out. I think we're both in agreement. Just go check out this movie. Great acting, great cinematography. I think it's very well crafted, very well put together. I really don't think you'll regret it. Other than that, if you've seen the movie and think that there's anything that we should have mentioned, feel free to let us know in the comment section. If you've seen the movie and hated it and want to tell us why, again, feel free to tell us in the comment section. Other than that...
And if you're a journalist that wants to get on a moral high ground about that, why don't you go find somebody that's dealing with mental issues and help them out instead of getting people worked up to get armed security at a fucking movie theater. You fucking cocks.
And there's that. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and thumbs up this video. And feel free to share it if you think anyone, has seen this movie, or maybe they're on the fence and you think what we're saying makes sense. Send it to them. Maybe we can help sway them. And be sure to follow us on all our social media. That's sure to be listed in the description below. And you want to add anything?
No.
I think you've said everything you need to say.
Yes, I have.
Well, thanks for watching. Once again, I'm St. Adam.
And I'm Chris Malice.
And we will catch you later.